Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be a sympathy card. This card I'm going to be using watercolor techniques, embossing techniques, and I'm going to use an embellishment to tie it all together in an elegant card design. Let me move this out of the way and show you how to create this card. To create this card, I'm using with Deepest Sympathy die cut. I got this from Amazon. I don't have a company name for that. And the Stampin Up Bloom with Hope stamp set. Additionally, I'm going to need a paintbrush, some water, and I need the score tape here. This is wide score tape. This is 5 inches wide. And I'm going to be using some embellishments, embellished butterflies and rhinestones. For the watercoloring, I have a piece of cardstock which I have laminated to give it some stability, and it's also wipe off. And I've pushed the 3 of the 4 colors of distress ink right on here, and this is the 4th color. And I've already taken the watercolor paper and taped it down to my clipboard so that it won't warp as I'm going through this. So the first thing I need to do is add some water to the paper. And this is very easy watercoloring techniques. It's not hard and anyone can do this. And now I'm going to bring a little water and get this color going. And I'm going to start with the yellow because this is the lightest. And I'm just going to put it in different spots here and there. Okay, a little bit. Clean the brush, and I'm going to the next one, which is this cracked pistachio, and I'm going to just drop it here and there. There's no right way or wrong way to this, so I'm going to just go through and do all the colors one after the other. The last thing I'm doing is going over with a wash of color to blend all the colors, because I don't want to have too much of one color. Like I have a little bit too much of the Mermaid Lagoon, so I'm going to bring in a little bit more of the blue. And I want a little bit more of that yellow. So I'm going to dry what I have so far. And then I'm going to add a little bit more colors. Okay, that's pretty much the way I want it. I may add a little bit more of the blue here. Yeah. Add a little bit of interest on there like that. And a little bit more of the yellow. Okay, and I'm going to dry this, and then I'm going to set it aside and let it completely dry and move on to the next step. The next thing, I'm going to put the adhesive on the back of this cardstock using this score tape. If you didn't have score tape, you could also use stick it product. And the only reason I'm doing this is to make it easier to make the die cut stick to the front. You could skip this step entirely and just use liquid adhesive on the back of the cardstock cut out, but this step will make it a little bit easier. So I'm just going to cut that off. I'm going to trim this real quick. So now I have this with the adhesive on the back. Move this out the way. Now I'm going to bring in my clipboard again and my watercolor palette, and I'm going to take and go all over this cardstock with the Versamark because I want to make my own gold glitter paper. Boy, I'm knocking everything all over the place. So I have this giant bag of gold embossing powder, and I'm going to use that, and I have a coffee filter to drop it in so I don't make a mess all over everything. So I need to get everything ready before I get going to make it easier once I go. All right, let me grab my die cut back in so that you can see this piece of paper is pretty close to the size of it, so I'm going to have to be really careful with this. Okay, so it's as simple as this. You just press it right into the cardstock. And I'm leaving a little bit so I can hold on to the paper without getting my fingers all messy. You can make your own gold paper, any metallic paper. You can make your own glitter paper doing this technique also. Okay, I think that's good coverage. And this is just, I'm going to wipe that off. But I don't want to get that all sticky, so I'm going to move it to the side. And just drop this all over the top. Okay, it's more than I need, but I want to make sure I went up high enough. Knock off the excess. Got a little corner that I missed. Flick off the extra powder, and I'm going to bring that die cut in to make double sure that I've gone high enough, and I need a little bit more of this corner. So let's just tuck that in like that. Okay, and I still have a little piece to hold on to. All right, let's move this, set that there, pour this back in the bag. This embossing powder is probably going to last me a very long time. And believe it or not, I got this giant bag, all of this, and I believe it was $5.63. And that is amazing, considering that you can get a very small container about like that for that much on the regular stores. Okay. Now move this aside, move this aside, and I'm going to bring in my embossing gun and heat this up. And this just needs a minute to cool off. It's still a little wet right now, but there you are, instant gold paper from white cardstock. Okay, moving on to the next step. Now that I have my gold cardstock, I'm going to run this through the Gemini machine. I'm not going to use the Big Shot for this because I want to be sure that I get all the way through in one pass, because it's going to be sticky and it's a little thick because it has the embossing powder as well as the adhesive on the back. So if you wanted to use a Big Shot, you of course could. You just might want to use your precision base plate to make sure that you can cut this intricate die, or add a couple of pieces of cardstock on top to add a little bit more pressure. So let me go run this through and I'll be right back. Now I have the die cut free from all the background stuff. I'm going to try and center it onto this watercolor panel, and it is sticky on the back. If you didn't do the score thing, then at this point you would just put adhesive on the back to make it stick. I'm trying to get this straight, because once it touches, it's going to stick, as it's sticking to my fingers. It's a little crooked, but we are going to live with that. Okay, pressing it down. Okay, this is trash. And I'm going to trim this to the proper size. And this is also trash. Of course, if you wanted to do a little bit of die cutting, like for letters or something, you might could save this and, you know, put something on it, but I'm not going to. It's just too much trouble. So I'm going to trim this and I'll be right back. It's a little crooked, but I am going to live with it. If you wanted to, of course, you could trim this to 5 by 3 3/4 and then put this on here. You didn't have to trim it afterwards like I did. But just be careful to get this straighter than I did. Okay, now the rest is just going to be finishing up the card. I'm going to put a little distressing on the edge and work on the inside. And that is the finished card. The prototype was purple, and this is shades of blue. Let me know which one you think looks better. I think I prefer this one, but I have a very severe partiality to purple. I'd like to thank you for watching my channel. Please hit subscribe and join. And I'd like to thank my brother David for the music that he is providing for my channel. I hope you enjoyed this and all the cards that I demonstrate on my channel. Have a great day and take care.